Hello, welcome to African Politics Today. I am Esther Akudinobi. Everywhere today, people are concerned about the security of their flesh and blood in Africa. Therefore, we're going to be talking about security in Africa. Radical organizations in Africa have had a historical presence that extends well beyond the most recent emergence of groups like Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, Ansar Dine, and Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. Trending in West Africa is Boko Haram, the militant group in northern Nigeria that has killed thousands of people and displaced more than 3 million in Nigeria and beyond. Also, there are Fulani herdsmen who are causing a lot of chaos in many communities up there in northern Nigeria and in other parts of the country. I have a guest with me today, but before I bring him in, may I give you a brief history of Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen. Before colonization and annexation into the British Empire in 1900 as colonial Nigeria, the Borno Empire ruled the territory where Boko Haram is currently active. It was a sovereign sultanate run according to the principles of the Constitution of Medina, with a majority Kanuri Muslim. Then, in 1903, both the Borno Emirate and Sokoto Caliphate came under the control of the British. Christian missionaries at this time spread the Christian message in the region and had many converts. British occupation ended with Nigeria in 1960. In the decades since the end of British occupation, politicians and academics from the mainly Islamic North have expressed their fundamental opposition to Western education. Political, religious interest groups, whose membership includes influential political, military, and religious leaders, have thrived in Nigeria, though they were largely suppressed under the military rule. Their paramilitary wings, formed since the country's return to civilian rule, have been implicated in much of the sectarian violence in the years following. The Arewa People's Congress, the militia wing of the Arewa Consultative Forum, the main political group representing the interests of northern Nigeria, is a well-funded group with military and intelligence expertise, and is considered capable of engaging in military actions, including bombing. Then in 2002, Mohammed Yusuf founded the sect that is known as Boko Haram in Maiduguri, which is the capital of northeastern state of Borno. He established a religious complex and school that attracted poor Muslims from across Nigeria and neighboring countries. The center had the political goal of creating an Islamic state and became a recruiting ground for jihadists. Therefore, by denouncing the police and state corruption, Yusuf attracted followers from unemployed youths. Boko Haram conducted its operation more or less peacefully during the first 7 years of its existence, withdrawing from society into remote northeastern areas. However, the government repeatedly ignored the warnings about the increasingly militant character of the organization. And sadly, the Nigerian Television Authority broadcasted Yusuf's preachings. Then following the July 2009 Boko Haram uprising, the Nigerian military captured Yusuf at his parents' in-laws' house. They transferred him to the custody of the Nigerian police force. The police summarily executed Yusuf in public view outside the police headquarters in Maiduguri. Yusuf's arrest and execution elevated him into a hero status. Stephen Davis, who was a former Anglican clergyman who has negotiated with Boko Haram many times, blames local Nigerian politicians who support local bandits like Boko Haram in order for them to make life difficult for their political opponents. Well, that aside, until today, Boko Haram's attacks consist of suicide bombing as well as conventional armed assaults on both civilian and military targets. Following the 2014 kidnapping, a majority of Boko Haram suicide bombers are female. Some are as young as 7 years old. Boko Haram jihadists rely on stealth, blending into local communities or hiding in the vast countrysides. Critics accuse the Nigerian military of not properly equipping its soldiers to fight Boko Haram. Then coming to Fulani herdsmen. The Fulani herdsmen, also known as the Fulani militia, are semi-nomadic, pastoristic, ethnic group living in the central regions of Nigeria, predominantly in the Middle Belt. The majority of Fulani herdsmen are Muslim. They have clashed with indigenous tribes and locals, mainly Christians, who are farmers, over grazing lands over the centuries. However, the clashes intensified around 2011 and 2015. The regions most affected were in the southern Kaduna. The atrocities perpetrated by the Fulani herdsmen include the destruction of houses and churches, as well as the seizure of land and properties belonging to Christian owners. Reports have also emerged of the Fulani herdsmen kidnapping children, Christian schoolgirls, to marry them to Muslim men. President Buhari was reportedly quick to deflect the issues, stating that the problem of cattle herders is a very long historical problem. But before now, cattle herders were known to carry sticks and machetes. But these ones are carrying AK-47 ammunitions. If this is the case, the question is this: what is the Nigerian government doing to resolve the ongoing conflict between Fulani herdsmen and Christian farmers? Are they investigating the crimes and persecuting the perpetrators? Are they also investigating the supply chain of the AK-47s? Sadly, this destruction is still going on till today. Like I said before, I have a guest here with me who is a concerned citizen of West Africa, who is concerned about our own flesh and blood suffering in Africa. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
My name's Oke Akasin, a social media commentator, a builder by profession, all the way from home, now in London, doing what we know too well, and a concerned citizen of West Africa living in London, and a member of indigenous people of Biafra in London. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to have you here today, sir.
Okay.
I just want to ask you a few questions, and then we'll continue with more conversations on security in Africa. Generally, what do you know about security in Africa?
Actually, talking about security in Africa is a big topic.
It is.
And I know you want to direct to the terrorism going on in
Yes.
Africa, because I've had the caption, which is Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen. That's what we have back there.
Yeah.
The Fulani herdsmen are on 200 and 400 something thousand years mission in West Africa, according to their history, the 13th century.
Yes.
And Boko Haram is a political sect of the northern Nigeria, which has a religious undertone and political interests, which its main motive or ideology is religious based. That's the much I know about them for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Then, from what you've said, that they have a religious goal, yeah, and a political goal as well, all mixed up. So what is their aim, from your understanding, from your research as a West African? What is their purpose in Africa? What do they aim to achieve?
To be honest,
Yeah.
Nigeria is a nation of 180 million people, according to the census.
Yeah.
This particular question tell you 180 million people can answer it unless they are Boko Haram members.
Yep.
And most Boko Haram members are in the game not knowing what they are doing just because of religious interest. You know, their main motive is still religious based. Is a jihadist program, though up till today the herdsmen are not terrorist group in Nigerian constitution, but are ranking the third most dangerous group in the world. In Nigerian constitution, they are not a terrorist group. So let's call them herdsmen for our own security. Nigeria constitution have not recognized them as terrorist group, though they are more dangerous than Boko Haram, whom the Nigerian constitution have not recognized as a terrorist group too. Boko Haram is not a terrorist group in Nigeria, according to law.
Yep.
The Fulani herdsmen are not a terrorist group according to Nigerian constitution. And, you know, so we won't call them terrorist group. We will call them government and political tools or religious extremism, or how do you pull it?
Extremists. Yeah.
Extremist,
I understand what you're saying, all right. They are religious. But what is the aim of the religious activity? Is it to Islamize West Africa? Or is it just to be heard as a group?
Well, it's an international organization all the way from traced back to Pakistan. Is it Pakistan? Yes. Sunni organization that gave back to Boko Haram. The meaning of Boko Haram is Western education is evil.
Yes.
And just like I said, they are not yet announced terrorist group in Nigerian constitution. If you have been following the recent trend, you know, what is there? They will soon have a ministry in the federal house in Nigerian government. You know, I don't know what they call it, but they are being employed into Nigerian police and the army, so they are not a national threat. So you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand you.
The organization, the Boko Haram organization, are not a Nigerian problem. They are not a Nigerian political tool to take over government, paint the southern government evil, take over blah, 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 blah. Because I don't see the book, I can't imagine at 2002, the Boko Haram we know are Yusuf boys. Yep. They have no uniform, they have no military boots, they have no armored vest, and the kind of gun they were using then was different, not classic AK-47. They were going what we called suicide bombing with their members, their children, out of, because they are not happy that Yusuf died in the hand of the police, who happens to be their leader, whom they believe and loved. But Boko Haram, as of today, has gone beyond the Yusuf organization.
Yes.
It is now government organization. It is a military tool of money making. You see, I don't want to be rude to the Northerners because they are the best beggars. They're using Boko Haram to beg money internationally. The president will travel, is all about Boko Haram. And the ministers will do budget all about Boko Haram. Nigerian military will do budget all about Boko Haram. And the more money the budget for against to stop Boko Haram, the stronger Boko Haram goes. In 2015, the British military went down to Nigeria to train Nigerian military on how to combat Boko Haram. Sincerely speaking, my observation is after that travel, since 2015, Boko Haram of Yusuf we used to know that wears blue sail pass, red sail pass, blue sail pass on the left, red on the right, you know, with haggard dress, now wear uniform with armored vest and cutting our military men like grasses. So I still look at it that Boko Haram,
they became more fortified.
Boko Haram in Nigeria is not a terrorist group. It is Nigerian government institution that only them know what they want to achieve with it. And nobody can deny that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you said they are not in the Nigerian constitution. Neither Boko Haram nor Fulani headsmen are classified as terrorists.
None, yeah.
Though they are just causing chaos, destroying lives and property. Do you think that these two organizations are in league? Because their activities seem to be similar somehow.
Boko Haram is not a Fulani agenda. Okay. The original Boko Haram, I don't know if you know Shekau,
yes.
It is from Ekanemi. Yeah. If you remember those days, we used to have Ekanemi warriors. Yes. The Ekanemis are warriors in northern Nigeria. They are big warriors. They are well respected. It's unfortunate that Shekau is even killing his people. The Fulanis they started breeding power and getting stronger when the enemies were conquered by using one of their own to fight their people. Had it been Shekau didn't do what he has been doing before this Fulanese agenda, that wouldn't have been Fulanese.
Yes.
Just that they saw the opportunity. All the strong territories in the northeastern Nigeria have been polluted by Boko Haram, who was supposed to be the indigenous people that will protect the people. Now the Fulani herdsmen will see according to President Buhari, they are not Nigerians. Mm-hmm. According to Sanusi, who paid them some money some time ago, as foreigners. So you can see they are not the same. The Fulanis they are foreigners in Nigeria. Yes. I remember as far back as 1980, not quite long, 1989, 90, if you see a Fulani man crossing the road, if he asks you for a cup of water, you go and get a gallon of water as a kid and give to him. Those are not the Fulanis we have now. The Fulanis we have now are from Central Africa, who are homeless, armed by Nigerian politicians as a tribal, love or way of support, and political tool, to conquer the South and kill as many Christians as possible. The Boko Harams are political tool to take over government. The Fulani herdsmen are federal government agenda to grab people's land and establish a new tribe among us by force, by fire, by force.
Thank you. Is there any way they can be suppressed? Do you think? Is there any possibility of suppressing such influx?
Actually, there would have been a way out if there is a government.
Thank you.
There would have been a serious way out if the people still have their will. There would have been a way out if we have ordinary police. But you can see now that the military is now Boko Haram infected army. The police is Boko Haram infected police.
That's true.
You and I know what an ideology is. An ideology is not a small thing that a salary can clean.
No.
Somebody that killed you as a criminal now wears a uniform. I don't know. The fact is, in few years from now, you will have Nigerian commander, this ex-Boko Haram.
Yes.
So you can't think about winning in such a situation. Yeah. So the only way to win Boko Haram and control foreigners coming to our land to grab our land and kill our people and rape our women and get just because they have the government support, nobody can arrest them, kidnap people, block road, carry guns all around, is to destroy the cage that grab all the placed us together. That is what indigenous people of Biafra is doing on a daily basis. We want to separate ourselves, form our border, have our police, have our army that won't be infected, infected military, Boko Haram or police or whatsoever, so that when you commit crime in our land, we will arrest you. But until we have a country that people will be responsible, to protect, to love their people in it, Boko Haram will keep shining and will never be tagged a terrorist group. They will keep getting employment into Nigerian army. They will keep producing senators. They will keep producing leaders until they produce a military general. That is where it's going to go. They will take over Nigerian government with one flimsy excuse, overthrow a democratic elect, just like Buhari did 1890. Yeah, nobody, he's supposed to be in prison.
Yes.
If Nigeria is a country, the coup of Buhari, that 1984 coup, elected government with lies, he's supposed to be in prison and not in Asarok. Until we have the indigenous people, the owners of the land, that's the farmers, that's my mothers, your mothers, our fathers, we say, we own this land. Government is a creation because there is a country.
Yes.
We don't even know the meaning of the country. Since the creation of the country, it has all been killing the indigenous people. Nigeria has not saved anybody in England or any part of the world. You kill it, they kill a Nigerian, killing 2,000 Nigerians is like, it's easy. Nobody, that's why Indians can kill, anybody can kill a Nigerian and nobody, because Nigeria is a human slave cage.
Thank you. If all this continue, what do you think is going to be the future of Nigeria and West Africa as a whole?
If you ask the president of Nigeria the future of Nigeria, sincerely, he will need days to tell you, because Nigeria has no single future.
I want you to explain better what you mean by Nigeria not having any future. Like
a family man, you have plannings. If you like a family man, when you come home, you can plan your 2-3 years program, and anybody that stays around you, either by your business or what you do, can say in the next 5 years, this is where you're gonna go to. If you can't plan for yourself, you look at your children and plan for them. Yeah. And say in the next 10-20 years, they'll be in university, this and that. Nigeria has no program. Nigeria has no single program. Nigeria has no program. Nigeria has no program, and we never have program. The future of Nigeria is dissolution. In fact, Nigeria has no meaning as a name, as a country, because just like, and I should know the meaning of my name. I came from the East. I don't know the meaning of Nigeria in my language. I don't know if you know. No true Hausa man can, tell us what Nigeria means in his language. No true Yoruba man can sincerely say, this is the meaning of this word, Nigeria, in their language. And if you have something you don't know the meaning, you will never know the value. Nigeria is a failed state. If you look at the politicians in that office, you know them. How can Buhari bring such progress at his age? He can tell as many lies as he can, but he has a sister, he has a brother, they all celebrate the birthday. We know he has age mates in the army, Obasanjo. You understand my point? We all have parents. At the age of 70 years, I can employ my father at the age of 70 to mind my 10, maybe 100,000 naira business. So I cannot give Buhari at the age of close to 90 to mind Nigeria, 180 million people's future. I cannot support him. I don't see why a normal human being, whether you're a politician, whether you're a businessman with the interest of your people at heart, you support a 80-something years old man with the biggest black nation in the world. And since then, Nigerian plane has been on the crashing side. Buhari is crashing it like he crashed it in 1984. We made it up again. He has come to crash it again, and this time Nigeria cannot survive it.
Which means Nigeria has no future.
The future of Nigeria is disintegration, that's all. That's the only way the Fulanis will know that people own the land. That's the only way people will take responsibility. That's the only way people can stand up and say, enough. Somebody from the Eastern Africa, East Central Africa cannot come and kill somebody in Northern Nigeria or in Western Nigeria and won't be arrested. Something is wrong.
Fundamentally.
The Nigerian government are responsible for the killings going on in Nigeria. I repeat myself, the Nigerian government are responsible for the Boko Haram killings, they are responsible for the Fulani killings, they are responsible for all the crimes and atrocities, including street kidnappers. They are responsible. For example, when somebody pays you to go to university and he graduates, you don't employ him. No future of employment because his brother is not a governor. What do you expect an educated, idle mind to do?
It's true.
It's better you have a bomb in your house than you have educated, unemployed graduate around you. If you don't do something, they will kidnap you turn by turn. So Nigerian government knows what they're doing. They created weak economy. They make the politics so high. They share the money during the election. And they grab the power however they want it. So they don't care about the people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But do you think that foreigners, you said something about the British coming in some time ago. There are also other foreign nationals who are not the British. Do you think such people, because it seems the government is responsible for most of the things going on there, and they're doing next to nothing because, of course, they cannot do anything. They're happy about everything. So do you think that foreign troops should be allowed to come into Nigeria to help the situation?
Foreign troops will only come when Nigerian government said Boko Haram is a terrorist group constitutionally. Foreign troops can only come when Nigerian government said Fulani herdsmen are terrorists. They cannot come when they are telling you all is well. Nigerian government are good in covering news. Bomb explosion in Lagos, they call it gas explosion. It happens simultaneously, one in Lagos, one in Ebonyi State, that cost hundreds of lives.
That's, yeah.
Properties, no compensation, no insurance, no nothing. Just like that. Nobody arrested. No more investigation. The fact is, thank you for this opportunity. I want to use this media to tell Nigerian government, from the president to the least man, that we all spend 9 months in our mom's womb. 9 months. That we know that you are responsible for all the deaths. And if we cannot hold you accountable, nature will hold you accountable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akudinobi, for coming in.
Thank you.
I want to thank the viewers for listening to us. I'm an African, and it is something they say in my culture, because Africans use a lot of proverbs to speak. They say that a mother hen was just walking down the street with her chicks, and a hawk came down, woof, took one and flew off, and she screamed her lungs out. After screaming, she said, I can't fly as high as that hawk, but I'm just screaming so that the world will hear my voice, that I wrong has been done to me. That's what we're doing here. We're just talking so that people will hear. Like he said, a lot of things are being covered up in Nigeria. I hope humanitarians are hearing this. People who have got good hearts are hearing that people are dying and that their deaths are not being accounted for. Properties are being destroyed. Nobody accounts for that. Once again, I say thank you for listening. Mr. Akudinobi, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
One thing I want to add, I know you're going to edit, is the Nigerian government and Boko Haram activities is working simultaneously. No one is missing, including that of a cattle herdsman. Look at it. Boko Haram went to Borno's northeast, bombed 4 local governments, conquered 4 local governments, established their territory, and the government is keeping quiet. I was watching TV one day at Maiduguri University. The police went and arrested all undergraduates and tagged them Boko Haram. Do you know what they wanted them to do? They want to tag them Boko Haram and force them into Nigerian army.
For what reason?
The reason is so that politically they can have educated, jihadists in power. Nigerian government has Boko Haram as a terrorist group. They have Fulani herdsmen as a terrorist group. They have people who are victims of these 2 terrorist groups. Where are they housing those people? Chad, Cameroon. Dilapidated IDP camps without toilet and facilities and water, no medication, no food. Guess what? What about those who came to cause the harm and kill their loved ones before they were driven to IDP camp and handed their land and their inheritance to Boko Haram and Fulanis? What happened? The Boko Haram members are now assumed to be repentant, employed into the army, uniformed, when these people are still in IDP camp. Please tell me, can't you see that government is responsible sponsoring Boko Haram? Why is everybody afraid of it? Secondly, I want to speak to Nigerian journalists or media, from NTA to all of them. I don't want to mention names, but they are all shameless liars. They will all be judged. God will judge anybody that caught Fulani herdsmen attack to sleeping mothers and children, farmers, herders attack. What do you call it? They say it's farmers, herders fight or conflict.
Conflict, yes, sir.
Any journalist that has been since 2015 calling this killing conflict, you are a liar, and you will die as a liar.
No strong language.
Allow me to use my strong language. The fact is, as long as you are a journalist, you call Fulani attacking communities clash, farmers clash, you are a liar. You are a paid liar. You are a career liar. You are a professional liar. You are a biological liar. And lies will follow you to grave. There is no normal human being that will see what is going on in Nigeria and call it conflict. Oh. It is political land grabbing. It is jihadism. It is terrorism. It is government-sponsored terrorism. That is why no Fulani man is in detention with all these atrocities. Government is sponsoring the killing of Christians in Nigeria and Muslims at the same time.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Akison.
Thank you.
Thank you for your frankness. I appreciate your coming in tonight. And I hope to have you here another time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, God bless you.
Bless you.
Now, viewers, we'll see you again next week on another episode of African Politics Today. Meanwhile, good night.